Hello, good morning. I hope that everybody is well. I'm feeling, shall we say, a little bit delicate this morning. This is very much the morning after the night before. Last night we went out to a party, a 70th birthday party. And I think we partied a little bit too hard. You forget how old you are and you think you can do what you used to do when you were young. I love dancing, and I think probably I danced a little bit too hard. But you know, a girl's got to have fun, and what is age? Now in this video there's two exciting things. I've got some linen for sale. And the second one is I want to talk about a needlework event that's going to be held in the United Kingdom next year. But where shall we start? Well, last weekend there was no video. I fully intended to make a video at the Cross Stitch Guild retreat, but the weekend went so quickly that there was no time to do that. It was a brilliant weekend. It's always so nice to get together with other needleworkers and, you know, just spend time together talking, stitching, and too much eating. There was a lot of food at that Cross Stitch Guild weekend. It was very well run, and you know, our table, we were all reproduction sampler lovers, and you know, we just had a fabulous time. It was really great. It's well worth you looking at the Cross Stitch Guild if you are based in the UK. It's got a lot to offer needleworkers. Now, last weekend, it was the first opportunity I had to use my hand and lock cases that Ray bought me for Christmas away from the home. And I was so pleased with these boxes. I'm a cube packer. When I travel, I have my items in my suitcase in cubes, and you know, you fit so much more in. So for me, cases are a natural thing to travel with. Are you interested in Mummy's cases? You mustn't chew them. I managed to fit. Oh, Hugo, you're all muddy. What have you been doing? What have you been doing? Just bear with me a moment. I need to go and wash my hands and wash Hugo's face. I'm sorry about that. I suspect if I go out in the garden, there's going to be a freshly dug hole, courtesy of Hugo. Now, where was I? We were talking about the cases. I managed to fit so much in. I had all my silks for my project. I had all the tools I could possibly need while working away from home, and they were all neatly arranged in my travel cases and travelled well. I can highly recommend these cases from Hand and Lock. Hand and Lock are based in the UK, but if you are in the United States, Hobby House Needlework sells these cases, and I wish Hand and Lock did the large case in the red, but they don't at the moment. They do the dark teal in both sizes, but only the red is only in small. We need to all write to Hand and Lock saying, please bring the large case out in red. But I was very lucky to receive a gift from a friend of a beautiful red case. Now, this case is really a jewellery case sold by Kuana, not Kohana, but Kuana, and it really lends itself to being a needlework case. Got a needle minder on this top section, and there's this lovely little pouch, and I've got some scissors in the pouch, and then the little case comes with a separate little sort of like wallet case with two pockets, and I've got some needles in there and a thread winder as well. beautiful soft feel to this case. And then the case itself is quite deep, and I've got various things in the case. This is just really lovely, and if you go onto the Kuana website, which is, I had a look, it's actually sort of like a clothing and leather accessories site, and it's under a travel jewellery case, I believe. Oops. It's the one that in the pictures you will see that little wallet inside the box. I know I'm not the only one that loves red. I know there's a lot of needleworkers that love red. Talking of red, I took my Kohana scissors with me to the weekend, and some of my friends have already got them, but not all of them. And that's one of the things that's really nice about going to an event. You get to see other people's gadgets and try them. And a friend tried them and realised straight away what I'd been on about this really lovely fine tip to these scissors. Now, I don't mean the top bit. The top bit's not sharp. There is a little slightly blunted end to the top. When I mean fine tip, I mean how fine the blades of the scissors go to. And that means that when you cut your linen, your thread, you are getting right to the base of that thread, and you've got no sort of stray little bit of thread. And when you are working on high count linen, that little tuft of thread, it really can make a difference to the appearance of your work. I really love these Kohana scissors. The new spring colours, they're actually on their way to me from Hobby House Needleworks. They've been shipped, so I'm hoping that this week they will arrive. I cannot wait to see the colours, the true colours. Some people who live in the States have posted theirs arriving, and they do look absolutely fabulous. If you're interested in Kohana scissors, in the UK, Beyond Measure sell them, and in the States, Hobby House Needleworks and the Attic Needleworks sells them as well. They're just absolutely fabulous. Really love those. Do you like my little scissor fob? It's actually a thread ring, but I like them on the end of my scissors, and I'm going to take this little tassel off because I prefer having something like this. Very soon I'll be able to tell you more about these and where you can get them, but that's in a few weeks' time. Okay, the other thing that I had at the Cross Stitch Guild retreat was my new daylight lamp. And again, this is the first time that I had used this away from home, and it's brilliant. It folds into a very small hard shell case. It was great, you know, to put in my case. It was well protected, and it didn't take up much room. Now, this daylight lamp is one that you charge up and you can use without a cable. And if you've ever been to a retreat, you know that it can be like a death trap when people have got their lights plugged in and cables running on the floor. But this was really neat. It opens up, and you can put it to whatever height you like, and then it'll go all different ways. Now, this does rotate. When I showed it before, it was literally the first time I had taken it out of the case. I wasn't sure, but this top does rotate, and you have a very strong LED light there, and you have so that's on sorry, off, on, and then you can take it down, or you can put the strength of the light back up. And it really is a good light. I found this really great on the table. It didn't take up much room in my space, and you know, I could put this on towards the edge of the table and have this leaning over, and that was really falling on my work, which I use my Millennium frame and my Aristo stand, and I use my Aristo stand as a lap stand rather than a table stand. So if you think about it, if this was the edge of the table here and I had my work on my lap, this came right over my work and gave me really good light. So this is a daylight Foldigo lamp, and it really is great. It just folds down and you go. So it's a Foldigo lamp by Daylight. I bought this off the internet in the UK, but in the States, again, Hobby House Needleworks and the Attic, they stock this light, and I can highly recommend it. I've always loved my Daylight Halo lamp, which has magnification, but I don't actually need magnification to stitch. I use my glasses for my magnification, but I do use my Halo light when I'm reproducing. Sometimes it works very well on my desk over a sampler that I am studying to chart. But this is the one I'm going to be using in the future for travelling with. It was brilliant, highly recommend it. Okay, what have I got? Linen for sale. Now, you know that I have really been enjoying Tabby Cat linen, and it's Zweigard based. Michelle is coming up with some fabulous colours, and what I like about Michelle's colours, they're consistent. So, you know, like for example, the wood smoke I've got, it's all very much the same. Now, with anything that's hand dyed, there's always going to be a slight variation between dye lots, but you know, Michelle is achieving very good consistency. So anyway, I've got some for sale, and let's go through it. The first piece I've got is, oh, and I should say that if you are interested in this linen, if you just email me at handsacrosstheseasamplers@gmail.com. We'll deal with it on a first come, first served basis. The first piece of linen that I have is wood smoke in 32 count, and it is 17 inches by 13 inches, and it's priced at £18.50. Let me just open this up and I'll show you the colour. These are all great sizes for you to try out the colour. Isn't that beautiful? That's wood smoke. Some really nice vintaging on this linen. So that's a super size for you to try the linen and the colour. The next piece of linen that we have is bow truckle on 36 count, and the size is 25 inches by 17 inches, and it's priced at £37. And bow truckle is a great colour. We've got a few models in production on this colour at the moment. There's a beautiful richness to it. Isn't that lovely? Really super piece of colour, linen. Some very sort of delicate aging to that piece. So that was bow truckle, 36 count, 25 inches by 17 inches, and that is priced at £37. The next piece of linen I have is Ricamo, and it is Sahara Sand, and it's a 30 count, and the size is 34 inches by 19 inches, and that is also priced at £37. Let me just show you the colour. Now, if you like really grungy vintage linen, which I do, this is a fabulous piece. And here we go. Now, when you stitch on this, you'll find that all of this mottling sort of fades into the background behind your stitching, and it's a beautiful base to showcase your stitching on. We were talking about this last weekend. When I first started to stitch, I liked stitching on very clean linen and mostly cream, because that's what you could get in this country. And when you look across a room at samplers that are on a pristine cream base, what you see is that starkness of the linen. When you look across a room and you look at samplers stitched on an aged piece of linen with some warmth of colour, what you see is the stitching. Linen should showcase and highlight work, not compete with it and take over. The next piece I have is Creme Brulee, and we have already had many samplers released on Creme Brulee and many more in production on it. This piece is 36 count, and it's 25 by 17, and it's £37. This is a lovely piece of linen. Love this colour. Mary Wigglesworth is stitched on this, and so is Sophia Doggett, and there's many more coming out on this linen. And then we have a second piece of Creme Brulee. So there's two pieces of Creme Brulee, both 36 count, 25 by 17, and priced at £37. And then we have a piece of linen on Cat's Whiskers, and this is a really, really lovely colour to work on. If you like a lighter colour, this is probably the one for you. It's 36 count, and it's 17 by 13, and it is priced at £18.50. And here we go. Lovely colour, really, really nice. I'm stitching the red and blue sampler that was a gift for a dear friend on this colour, and this has proved to be a very popular colour for Michelle. It's not white. It's there's like a bluey greyish tinge to this linen. There's warmth to it. So there we have it. If you're interested in any of those pieces of linen, just email me at handsacrosstheseasamplers@gmail.com. I hope that for people who stitch samplers in the UK that have a problem sourcing overdyed linen, that these will be of interest to you. But we can ship this linen around the world, so just send me an email. Okay, so the other exciting thing I wanted to talk about is that next year in the UK, in the fall, most probably in September, there is going to be a weekend retreat with a focus on reproduction samplers. It's going to be in central England, so that no matter where you live in the UK, you know, it's sort of like bang in the centre and should be accessible to everybody. People from around the world are welcome to come to this event. It'll be from Friday late afternoon through to late afternoon on the Sunday. And the aim is for us to have fun, for us to stitch, talk and also to learn about reproduction samplers. So it's not a workshop, it's a retreat, but there will be a focus on learning about samplers and maybe looking at some stitches and mastering a few techniques. There will be an expert speaker at the weekend as well, and there will be a pop-up needlework boutique selling all sorts of things relating to this craft that we love so much, and also there will be a selection of antique samplers for sale on that weekend. It's very much in the planning stage at the moment, but if you think that you would be interested in attending, if you would like to email the Great British Sampler Weekend at gmail.com to express an interest, you will automatically receive an email when we have more information to share about that weekend. We are expecting it to be very, very popular. It's going to be action-packed, it's going to be fun, and if you love reproduction samplers, it's going to be the event to attend next year. So yeah, I hope to see many of you there next year. Okay, it's Easter, a very special time in the Christian calendar. Yesterday, I saw a lovely finish of Amy Fisher, and it was such an appropriate time for Amy to be finished. This is a photograph of the finish I'm referring to. Now, if you look at my finish, there is a difference between the two samplers. Amy stitched her verse in various different colours, but Karen wanted to place an emphasis on the verse, and we chatted about this via email, and Karen stitched "Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do" in the deeper red, the garnet, from the capital F on the original sampler, and it really made that verse stand out, and it's a verse that is so appropriate for this time of year. Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. Amy is a very, very pretty sampler. She was one of the ones that I stitched in lockdown, and I really enjoyed working her. She has this unusual border, which is very pleasing on the eye. She has some lovely geometric shapes, a beautiful font to her alphabet. I really enjoyed stitching this sampler. A friend of mine, she made a little Christmas ornament out of this motif, and this motif would lend itself to that as well. Anyway, I just thought I would show you Amy, as it is Easter and her verse is so appropriate. I love looking at this sampler. I love the little ducks. You know, she had her ducks all lined up in a row. You often wonder, why did the girls choose individual motifs? You've got the cross, you've got a key, you've got an arrow. I love this little flower motif. You have the bee, you have a very fancy arrow there, you have a heart in a circle. Honestly, this little sampler gives so much. There's so much to excite you when you're stitching. There's even an anchor below the crown. Now, this is stitched entirely in cross stitch over 2, but there are a few little eyelets set in this crown, and they're just eyelets with 8 legs. So this is work, you know, you can stitch this on Ada or linen, And the colours are pretty as well. You know, it's a colourful sampler, but in a mellow sort of way. Very pretty. Okay, the other thing that we're getting to see a lot of posts about is the magnificent Esther Blackwood sampler. This sampler is the stitch along for traditional stitches, and it's really pleasing to see how many people are stitching Esther. And if you go onto Facebook and you go to the Esther Blackwood stitch along, you'll get to see so many beautiful photographs of people's progress on this sampler. And it's very easy to look at a big sampler and not actually see the detail in the sampler. There is so much beauty and some really lovely colour combinations and varying patterns and beautiful, beautiful motifs. Now this is a limited edition booklet and it's exclusive to traditional stitches, but Janice does have some copies left and some supplies for her. So if you're interested in stitching this beautiful sampler, which was originally stitched in Quebec, Canada in 1853, contact Janice at Traditional Stitches, and you know, you can join in with the stitch along or just enjoy owning the booklets or stitching it by yourself, whichever. This week I released a sampler that was released, might be, I don't know, 2017, 2019, as a printed booklet, and I've just released her as a PDF. It is my intention to eventually have every sampler we've produced in printed and PDF format. I brought Elizabeth back from the States, and my photographer re-photographed her. And then I had some museum glass put in, and she's back with me, and she is now being released as an instant PDF download. This sampler is a very pretty sampler. I love that gorgeous Tudor rose. I've had several requests to release Elizabeth Furness as a PDF. Well, Elizabeth's model is still in the States, and I hope to bring her home when I visit the Attic Needleworks in June. And when I have brought her home and I've had her re-photograph and I've had a little bit of time, I will put the PDF together for that one. When I am actually bringing out something in a PDF, I just can't use the format that we used for the booklet. It's a completely different format, and it does involve you know, a real solid chunk of time to you know, redo it basically. So you know, bear with me, I will get there eventually. Now, when I go to the Attic in June, it's for the Bristol weekend. Now, I've heard Claudia Dutcher-Kitzler talk about Bristol samplers at a workshop, and I've also sat and listened to her as we've talked together about Bristol samplers, and I don't think I would ever tire of hearing Claudia speak. She speaks with great knowledge and passion about Bristol samplers, and you know, Bristol samplers, they are special samplers. So I know that Jean has a handful of places left for that weekend. So, you know, why don't you come as well? I'd love to meet you, and it's going to be a great weekend. Any event that Jean puts on at the attic is always exciting, and it fires your passion up for reproduction samplers and for stitching. It's going to be a great weekend, and I can't wait to be there and listen to Claudia and Vicky as well for this very special weekend. Stitching. Well, actually, even though I was very busy talking and sort of socialising at the retreat, I did manage to get some stitching done last weekend, and Fanny is definitely growing. We have her verse, "Remember now thy Creator in the days of thy youth," which is one of my two favourite verses, and I have this row of strawberries in, and I love these strawberries. They're sort of very plump strawberries, and she didn't take the tip down to a single stitch. The tip ends in a row of 3 stitches, and it gives them sort of like a plumper feel to them. I'm starting to fill in this row of lowercase letters, and I've been working them in colours, so I've now got to add the third in the colour run across, and that's going to be in this sort of pale salmony pink. Very pretty sampler. Now this is on creme brulee, and we have 2 pieces of creme brulee linen for sale this weekend. Now I was asked by several people, why have I only stitched these 2 sides of the border? Well, I have a dilemma with Fanny. This corner, she stitched perfectly. This corner, she goes out a little bit. This corner, she goes very wrong. And this corner, I don't know what she was thinking of. Now, I have charted this sampler accurately as Fanny stitched it, but I don't know if I actually want to stitch it like Fanny stitched it. And my dilemma is that, yes, this is a model, but hats is a result of my interest and passion for samplers and stitching. Foremostly, I am doing what I love. I love stitching, I love studying samplers, and I have to ask myself, do I want a sampler on my wall where the quirkiness of the border would bug me? And that's my dilemma. Do I stitch this with the corners all perfect, or do I stitch it exactly as Fanny stitched it? Now, she's charted accurately, authentically, but what I can do in the booklet, when I publish her, I can have the chart as she stitched it, but I could also have an additional page with the correct corners if you wanted to stitch it with correct corners. Anyway, I don't know what I'm going to do at the moment. I am still thinking about it. She is a very pretty sampler. The colours are unusual, and these are the colours on the front of the sampler today. I don't know. I will have to come to a decision. But the interesting thing about Fanny's sampler, the fact that this corner is perfect, tells me that's where she started to stitch. She started with a perfect corner, and then she realised that she got her maths wrong, and she tried to adjust here, ran into real trouble there, and literally gave up on that corner. When you study samplers, sometimes, you know, they do tell you things about the little girl and the order in which they stitched the sampler. Anyway, right, well, I think that rounds this video up. I have to admit, talking about needlework, I don't feel quite so delicate as I did at the beginning. Maybe those boys are going to get their walk a little bit sooner today than I thought they might have. Anyway, I hope that you have a good week ahead. I'm off to London on Tuesday with Sue. I'm meeting Elizabeth and another needlework friend, and we're going to the Fabergé exhibition. And this exhibition at the V&A has been sold out, and this was the soonest that we could actually get tickets for it. And very, very excited. I was actually with somebody last night who lives in London, and they've been to the exhibition twice. They thoroughly enjoyed it, and they were very lucky that a friend had tickets and somebody dropped out, and that's how they got to go a second time. I'll let you know how we got on in next weekend's video. Okay, right. Stay safe, stay well, and if God is kind, I'll be back next week with another Flosstube. I almost forgot. I'm getting lots of emails about Queen of the May for 2022. She's beautiful. Can't wait to share her with you, and she will be released on April the 28th, and there are copies on their way at this moment to our distributors and to stores. So, you know, we haven't got very long to wait until we can reveal her in all her beautiful glory. And it is really now. Bye-bye.